Hi, I'm Morgan and today I'm going to be doing a quarantine book haul. Even though bookstores have been closed for like 3 months now, I still had to buy books somehow because it's an addiction and I just need more books all the time. So naturally I did that. And I bought most of these books second hand because, support small businesses and save the planet. So as I mentioned before, I think in a couple of my videos, I have a list of series that I want to finish because I started them many years ago, and this haul has been me starting to acquire the rest of these books so that I can finish the series. And I believe the first 4 books I'm going to talk about fall into this category. The first book I bought was The Girl Who Fell Out of the Sky by Victoria Forrester. This is the 3rd book in a series that was actually published very far apart. Like, the first one was in like 2008 or something. So I was like 9 and now I'm 21. What a time. This is a kind of middle grade, late primary school age series about a bunch of kids who have superpowers. And in the first book, the main character, Piper McLeod, goes to a school for kids with superpowers and meets a whole bunch of kids who are like her. The first one is called The Girl Who Could Fly, and it's one of my favourite books, probably due to nostalgia, but like, let me live. I loved it when I was younger. I've read it multiple times, and when I found out there was more of them, I had to buy them, obviously. So in this one, I believe Piper loses her powers somehow. Piper can fly, in case that wasn't obvious by the titles of the books, and she has to figure out who she is and where she fits into the world when she doesn't have these powers anymore, but all of her friends still do. I'm looking forward to seeing these characters again. It's obviously not going to be something I can relate to anymore because I'm a fully grown adult, but it is a series that holds a special place in my heart, so I guess I'll let you know if the nostalgia holds up. The next book I bought was Force of Nature by Jane Harper. This is the 2nd in a series. It is a sequel to The Dry by Jane Harper, which a lot of people have raved about. I know that she is very popular on BookTube, or at least I have seen her books talked about a lot, particularly The Dry. This series is crime fiction and it focuses on a police officer called Aaron Falk. And in the first book, he returns to his hometown after the death of his friend and ends up investigating said death. As is the nature of crime drama, this of course isn't exactly a sequel in that it continues the same story, but it is about the same character. And in this, Aaron is investigating the disappearance of someone who is linked to one of his cases. He focuses on financial crimes, I believe, and he's trying to figure out what's happening, etc. You know how crime books go. The next book I bought was Stiletto by Daniel O'Malley. This is a very shiny cover. This is a weird one because I'm still quite unsure about how I feel about the first book. The concept is basically magical MI5, and the lore and the world is really interesting, but in the first book the main character just wasn't vibing with me. I just found her really annoying both before and after the memory loss, and don't worry, that's not a spoiler, it's like the entire premise of the first book. All I know about this one is that it continues where the first book ends, with the unsettling of the Czech Key, who are the like MI5 organisation people. And the main character is just kind of done with it all and having to deal with people who are essentially traitors, I think. I have no idea if I'm going to like this more than the first one. I guess we'll see. And the next book on my list is Echoes of Us by Kat Zhang. I think it's pronounced Zhang. I apologise if it's not. This is the 3rd book in a series that I had to buy secondhand because I've been trying to buy it from Waterstones for several years, but they never have it. But this one I really have been reading since I was like 14. I don't know when the first book came out, but whenever the first book came out, I've been reading it since then. and I thought it was about time that I finished the series. This is set in a world where two consciousnesses are born into one body, and as you grow older, one of them fades so that you're left with just one consciousness. But the main characters, Addie and Eva, are past the age of when this fading happens, and they both still exist in this one body. So they have to hide one of their existences, that being Eva. They eventually get caught up in fighting for hybrid rights, which is essentially their right to just exist. This book rounds off the series, and I know that a lot of the main plot points are going to have to be touched upon. And mostly I just want the girls to be happy. I want Eva to have a chance at life because she's just been in Addie's head for years, and I don't know. I loved them when I was younger, although I cringed a lot in the second book, so we'll have to see. We will have to see. So the next few are actually books that I bought off Depop, because I usually get my secondhand books from charity shops or secondhand bookshops, but due to quarantine that's not really been an option for me. So I've just been searching for other ways to buy secondhand books, and here we are. The next book that I bought is The Sky's Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. I'm gonna be honest, I bought this purely because this cover matches the cover I have for I'll Give You the Sun. I mean, the book was on my list. It's on my list of books that I want to read and books that I want to buy, but I've never seen this cover of it before. I've only ever seen other covers, so I had to buy it so that they match. I'll Give You the Sun is one of my favourite books, so they have to match. I'd be mad if they didn't. I don't know a lot about this. I just know that it's about a girl whose sister dies and then I think she falls in love. You know, typical teenage angst with some death. I love the way that Jandy Nelson writes sibling relationships and the way she writes grief, and just her style in general. So this has been one that I've kind of always planned on picking up. So the matching cover really gave me no choice. The next book I bought was Ink by Alice Broadway. Look at this cover. It's so pretty. It's just beautiful. Like, the intricacy of it all. Her like being a different colour from all the patterns. Like, it's all the way around. It's just beautiful. It really is. I don't know a lot about this one either. Basically, people's lives are inked on their skin in this universe, and after this girl's dad dies, she finds out some secrets about, like, I think her dad and their family, which don't really make sense to her because, you know, your entire life is inked on your skin. It's something along those lines. But I just really like the concept of a universe where everyone's covered in tattoos that describe their life. It just sounds interesting, and also the cover is absolutely beautiful. I can't stop moving it in the light. Literally, I'm just like... The next book I bought was The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. This is another one with a beautiful cover. I don't know what is with beautiful covers today, but it really just is. This is about a girl who is alone on a spaceship and starts an email correspondence with a boy back on Earth, and they start falling in love, and then presumably typical sci-fi things start happening. I love space, I love sci-fi, I love the idea of being alone in space and how you deal with that. Honestly, the movie Passengers really did me dirty. It did that premise dirty. So I'm looking forward to see where this one goes. As long as it's better than Passengers, I think we'll be fine. The next book I bought was Seed by Lisa Heathfield. I'm just now realising how many of these covers are, like, iridescent. Like, it's just pretty. Like, I know I'm shallow, okay? I'm shallow when it comes to books, but it's so pretty. I don't know a lot about this. It's about a cult. I don't know. Teenagers and cults. That is my shit. Figuring out that the outside world might not be as bad as you think it is. Seeing the truth about your surroundings? Yes. When I was writing my notes for this, I like read the back of it and it says, where is it? A tense romantic thriller that won't let you go. And Now I don't know. Now I'm a little scared because it better not be a weird romance. Because sometimes when it comes to like cult books and stuff like that, the romance is really weird. So as long as it's not weird, we'll be fine. And the next book that I picked up was The Penelopead by Margaret Atwood. This is a retelling of the Odyssey, but from Penelope's side of the story. Penelope is Odysseus's wife. And we're kind of looking at what happened to her while she was at home waiting for Odysseus to just come back from the Trojan War, for God's sake. I love a good reinterpretation, a retelling, specifically when it comes to Greek myths, which you may have noticed that is kind of what I'm into. And I'm really interested in telling the stories of the women that are overlooked in these myths, and the stories that are seen as just kind of a side story to the men's adventures. I also believe that part of this is in verse. I don't know if it's all poetry or if it's just like certain parts, but I love a good bit of poetry, and it's Margaret Atwood, so I'm probably gonna like it. Now, the next book that I bought was a recommendation from a couple of my poetry friends who read this collection and were discussing it and just kind of like, I don't know what to think about this, so naturally I had to buy it so that I could put in my 2 cents, even though it will have been a very long time since they mentioned it by the time I read this. It's Bunny by Selima Hill. Selima Hill? I tried. So as I said, this is a poetry collection. It is quite short and I don't know a lot about it, but my poetry friends said that it is quite something, so naturally I have to read it. I think that it mostly deals with trauma and trying to navigate the world as a young woman in the 50s. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm always excited to read more poetry. And the last book that I want to talk about is one that I didn't actually buy for myself. It was a late birthday present from my best friend, who is the sweetest person ever, and it is a copy of Persuasion from the Folio Club. It's so pretty. I just wanted to show you guys because it's like the prettiest thing ever. So it has a quote, which I believe is the first line. I don't know, but it's cute. I say that as if I've never read Persuasion. I have. It's one of my favourites, which is why we're here. Look at this. This is the prettiest book I have ever owned. Like, in all honesty. I'm going to have to collect the Jane Austen editions now. Like, I'm just going to have to, so that they all match. It's, oh, and I have a specific, there's pictures, there's like illustrations, like throughout the book. And this is my favourite one. This is when Anne reads the letter. It's so pretty. So, yeah, I now have this to add to my collection. And it probably means that I'm gonna reread Persuasion again soon. Just so that I can read this really pretty copy and see all the beautiful pictures where they should be. Also, thank you, Gemma. And that is my little quarantine haul. All of the books that I have been slowly hoarding while I can't leave my house and I have to online shop to feel something. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, come interact with me somehow. All of my social medias are linked in the description down below. I love to talk about books at all times. And I do post other things on my social medias, not just books. I mostly don't post things. I was about to be like, I post things all the time. I really don't. But I do talk about my life and also the books that I'm reading currently. So if you want to see me have existential crises, that's where to go. But for now, thank you for watching. And since it's still June, happy Pride. Bye.